Hey, are you ready? I am. Welcome to the SAYMICHAEL podcast. What's up? Hey, y'all. What's going on? Welcome to episode 16. We're here, episode 16 of the SAYMICHAEL podcast, one man's attempt at business, family, and comedy. I am your humble and gracious host, Bly Aigbedion Jr. Thank you so much for joining me. Hello to all my new listeners. Goodbye to all my old ones. Farewell. And I just welcome everyone who's here with me today, because you didn't have to join me, but you're here. And I really appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. And I know what you're probably wondering. You're probably wondering, hey, Michael, what's new? Guess what? Nothing. Nothing's new. When you're stuck in the house for weeks on end, at the stay-at-home order, you don't know what's going on because nothing's happening to you. I think we're on our 5th week, and people starting to get restless. People starting to get crazy, and not a lot is happening to me, and I found that I've been, during this time, especially the last few weeks, I've been busy doing nothing, I'm not sure if that makes sense to you. Like when you're focused on doing nothing, first off, doing anything that doesn't, require you to use your mind, and, you're focused on that, minding your own business. And it's usually at those times where I'm busy doing nothing that people need so much from me. My mom, she'll be the first to call. She'll be like, "Hey, Junior, can you come to the school? I need you to help me sign some things and do some work." Oh, I'm like, can I come in the afternoon? She's like, what are you doing now? I was like, well, I'm kind of busy. She's like, you're not busy. You're not busy. You don't have nothing to do. Come in right now. Man, Bly does the same thing. She'll be like, hey, babe, are you asleep? I'm like, nah, what's going on? What's going on? And she's like, hey, can you check to see what that sound is in the fridge? Man. Everyone does it. Even the boys. Like, Daddy, come here, come sit, come look, we made the color green. We made the color green. Come look, Daddy. I'm like, And it's usually at those times I wish I could have a sign that says like, busy doing nothing. Please do not disturb, because, that's like a moment of meditation, when you're just focused on you, nothing else. And you're not really doing anything. You're not learning nothing. You're not changing nothing. You're just still, and, but, I'm joking. There is a lot that is going on right now. It's not just nothing, there's nothing going on with me, but there's a lot of things that are going on outside of me, First thing that's happening is that I'm still flossing. That's one thing that's happening daily. You know what I mean? That happened right before I got on here. It's probably going to happen right after I get off it. And then I'm going to do it again in the morning. Why? I don't need nothing in these teeths. You know what I mean? That's one thing that's happening right now. Still flossing. You know what I mean? That don't stop. Nothing stops that. I guess I could give y'all all the updates that y'all want to. I don't even know if anybody requests these updates, but this podcast is kind of like a glimpse into the world of an entrepreneur. I have, old business, new business, creative hobbies, family. There's a lot that's going on, There's a lot that's going on with me, and I'll give you these updates so you can kind of see like where I'm at, within the things that have to do with me, and in business and as an entrepreneur. And I have some issues with the word entrepreneur sometimes. Entrepreneur, I'd rather be considered a business owner first before I considered an entrepreneur, because that entrepreneur name, as everyone knows, is kind of like used by everybody. But I feel like when you don't have like a solid something, but you have more aspiration, then you could say, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, because entrepreneur is just so vague, that it really says you don't really have anything, but when you say you have I'm a business owner, that's a little bit more specific, then people could say what kind of business or whatever. But entrepreneurs, people say what type of what, I don't, you know what I mean? But the water boys, we're still down. The car wash game is still going, but we're still down. Like we're down again about 40 to 50%. And I'm still keeping my guys going, and I created a bottom where they can't make less than a certain amount each week. So they are reassured that I'm going to make sure that they're covered, week after week until this thing's, gets better, because we're still bringing in bread. So I could at least, like break even with them and, not try to profit in this time right now. But there's some things that, there's some things I would like to do, but again, you got to figure out how you're going to do it with, with like not new business coming in, because we have a few new people trickling in, but I got to do more ads. That's one thing. I got to do more email ads, because, I did that one, I think the first week that we had the stay-at-home order, and that went really well. But since then, I haven't did any new email blasts, and I said, I'm going to send out emails, because I have an email list, again, of 3,000 plus customers. And I'm like, they need to know what's going on, what we're doing, that we're available, and you got to keep doing this week after week. Got to make it where they can see the consistency behind it. And that's something I'm setting for myself, to set that goal of, adding in the email blast, to all of our customers or whatever. So that, again, employees doing good. I'm doing good. I'm blessed that we're even working at all. It could be, we could have been at zero, but hey, we're still pushing. I still feel pandemic proof. You know what I mean? So, let's get it. Oh, even crazier, is that someone called me this morning, random call, and said, hey, this is Rodney. Who is this? I was like, this is Michael. And he's like, hey, I was just wondering, you wouldn't happen to know any, car washes or anything like that are selling, would you? Like, are you selling or anything like that? I was like, selling. Well, what do you mean? I'm not understanding. Do I know you? And he's like, oh, no, you don't know me. I was just calling, like, there's any like car washes that that are in bankruptcy, or, that are foreclosed, that maybe I could be able to buy or anything like that. I was like, no, I don't. Oh, okay. All right. Thank you so much. And and then it just hit me that, during this time, there are a lot of companies that might not make it out of this whole thing. They might be selling, So I would like to encourage anybody out there who's looking into like doing business. This might be a really good time to say, okay, hey, if things aren't going very well for you, I could be able to take that business off your hands, and you can buy businesses really cheap. You can buy businesses as low as $500, and you could buy an insurance business for like $3,000, because really you're just assuming, their clients, so depends on how much they're making, but you can figure all that on your own, how to buy or how to sell a business. That's probably happening a lot right now. Another slept on opportunity. Also, at the barber school, we still have the students on the online, and that's not going so great, but it got us going. I mean, we're still going. We still haven't opened the doors. We still haven't had any new customers because of stay-at-home order. So we're going on 4 weeks of the barber school being closed. But they're announcing that they're going to start reopening the economy. And that's a weird way of like putting it. Reopening for the economy, not because everything is much better with this whole COVID-19 coronavirus situation. Is that, there's a rush that's going on right now to open the economy because people feel that they need to get back to work despite the risk of getting sick. And a lot of people, even the people who are immune compromised, they're marching, they're going up to these state halls and saying, we demand to go back to work. I think one of them said, my body, my choice, and what you're not understanding is that you could get, sick, but just understand you could get other people sick. I can imagine, when someone's like, comes to work with the flu and you're saying, no, you need to go home. He says, no, I choose to work. No, you're not working when you get everybody else sick. You don't work with the flu. You don't work with strep throat. You stay at home. What is different in this situation? But they're saying that, barbershops, salons, restaurants are going to start opening. I think it's going to be where people, come out, but you're going to still have to have a mask and gloves. I'm wondering how we're going to cut hair and how we're going to, service customers, if there's a risk of people getting sick, So, but thing is that we got to get these students back in because the online thing is just not working well for people who, who aren't accustomed to doing this online. You can't really force them to do anything, when you're not next to them. It is something new. So you're telling them to go home while all this whole pandemic thing is happening. Instead of, like collecting yourself, you're telling them log in, figure this whole thing out. And, but if you really want it, you're doing it because the students that really want it are doing it, also, I'm hearing about with comedy. Okay. I know you had probably understood my goals, for the new listeners who don't know my goals within comedy. I wanted to hit bigger stages and I wanted to do a show. The show that I wanted to do, I want to put it on for myself and I want to do it this year, but that's going to change, which is still all good because I'm still new into this. I'll be actually a year into doing stand-up comedy this upcoming August, but, I haven't really been doing it for the last, I'll say 5 weeks. The last time I went up was a week right before the stay-at-home orders hit, but the state of comedy right now is weird, because, everybody is wondering like, okay, when are we going to start getting to, because, okay, first, stand-up comedy requires an audience. That's one thing to understand, that it does require an audience. And for audiences and group events and all these different type of, shows, these aren't going to happen, anytime soon, in my imagination, until there's, some type of cure or treatment when it comes to this whole COVID-19. But, a lot of the shows are being postponed to 2021. So those goals, as far as, I don't think anything is really changing except for just postpone the goals that we that I have now to next year. But I have some cool names for what I would like to do as a show, because I want to do my first show in Dallas, and then I want to do the next show in Houston. Then I want to go to Austin, then San Antonio, then back to Dallas. I want to rent the venue. I want to sell all the tickets on my own. Set up all the help that I need, and bring some comedians. Let's get it rocking. That's what I'm looking forward to. A nice little statewide tour, and but that's still going to happen regardless of, this whole situation. We're going to figure something out to make that happen. But, the way that I see a lot of the comedians that, the way they're coping right now is, okay, I have to say some things are a little annoying because some people, they weren't big on social media to begin with, so they didn't want to do anything on comedy, social media and all that. But I guess that's the only option that's available right now is to go online and do comedy. So that's fine if people didn't, weren't interested in it, there is an opportunity there. But then some people who, I guess, I don't know, it just seems like some people are just trying to be funny. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's something I notice is like, I'd rather you just be you. And if you happen to be funny being you, okay, cool. Like if you do skits, cool. But don't, like, there's, especially on Facebook, constantly, update after update on their what do you call that? On their post of having some new twist of a joke of you being in quarantine, another joke. I feel like it's just so one-sided, one-dimensional, that, show you, I feel like you could say something. Like if I could see that you're trying to make a joke and trying to make people laugh, and it's obvious, after a while it gets a little old. I feel like, yeah, you can, make people laugh just being you, or, show people other sides of you other than just trying to be, the funny guy. Cause that's what it seems right now. It seems like there's a competition to say who could be the funniest, person who could post every single 10 minutes online, and, but it's not my cup of tea, but it's just me speaking as a consumer, people who, cause I go on just like anybody else, but that's just, what I think, even with my goals with the podcast, so far the podcast is doing well. It's growing. It's still growing. It's growing. I could say even during this time of this whole quarantine, it's been growing, but it's been growing in a different way. And, the way that, okay, before when you're talking about music or, podcasting or, book reading, anything like that, or like audiobooks. Okay. Podcasts, they're usually consumed while doing other tasks, and, that's why you're at work and that's why you're working out, things like that. But during this whole quarantine, I'm finding myself that I don't listen to podcasts, like I used to, because I usually do listen to podcasts while I'm doing other things. And if I'm not doing a lot of different things, then I'm not really, like, I guess, diving into the podcast like I used to, because I used to work, and while I'm using my hands, I listen to what's going on just out there, but, right now it seems like, the routine of listening to podcasts regularly, has changed. So, whereas before the quarantine, people would listen to my podcast most heavily in the first few days. Now I start to see spikes in different times. It kind of, I use Anchor, and it shows, analytics of who's listening and when they listen and all that. And the first 2 days are usually the most. And then the last few days I get another huge boost. And throughout the middle, I get new listeners chiming in, and they usually listen to different episodes. People are catching up to old ones, but it's not as uniformed as it was before. I used to see a clear upwards path, but now it's kind of like, up and down, up and down, up and down, because, I think that people's habits are changing, but, this brings me to a moment that I want to kind of share with you. I want to share with you my goals, because this is what I've been focusing on, a lot during this break. Other than doing nothing, I've been working out here and there, and also been, learning a little bit, on the, what is the class, the science of well-being, at Yale. That's been great. I'm gonna tell you about that. And a lot of goal setting and like setting up the processes for me to take myself to the next level. I have personal goals, like financial goals that I'm trying to meet. And the fact that I'm staying at home and not getting gas and not going out to eat and doing all that, I find that I am saving a little bit more at a time like this, and, I want to make sure that we keep setting these goals, because every time we meet a certain financial goal, me and my wife, okay, cool, let's take it to let's see if we could go even bigger. Let's try to double what we see here, and I'm setting goals for the Water Boys, so I want to, again, this year I want to come out with, products, to sell, those products individually. And I also like to, have our app, come out to make it a little bit more convenient for customers to book. Those are the main things. Also with the barber school, I want to get back to normal with that. I want to bring the students back in, but then we also, are running a lot of online ads there to bring that to the next level, and also doing radio. Those are the two main areas that we're going to be promoting on that one. Also want to complete a book within the next 2 weeks. Again, I'm still reading Range. I kind of recommended that a few podcasts ago. If you're a book reader, Range, by Epstein is amazing. But yeah, this has been my time to focus and write down and kind of check off my goals. The daily goals I have is just to make sure that I eat better and, just try to, be more organized, because that's probably one of the biggest, goals I have for myself, is just to be more organized. Like, it's hard when you don't have, in business or just in life, just a deadline for something. You just kind of wake up and say, okay, what am I going to do next? And to me, that made it hard for me to get things done. So I really do want to focus in, having a calendar, and marking things on that calendar. Right now I use an app called Wunderlist, and Wunderlist is great. Wunderlist is one of my favorite apps. I think they just got purchased by Microsoft. But that's a really great, app for taking care of tasks. If you want to take care of your task and make sure that you keep them organized to see what you have accomplished, and, they kind of gamify it a little bit so you could kind of, set goals for yourself on, on taking care of certain tasks. But yeah, that's what I've been focusing on, it's just goal setting and process building, making sure all that's good. But the class I've been taking at Yale, I like to name drop that one. But yeah, me and my classmates in the science of well-being, we're learning a lot. Right now I'm in week 2, and I encourage you to enroll as well. If you Google, Yale Science of Well-being, you'll be able to register for that class and join in. I would love to share the moments and the things that we're learning here, because, it's showing you how happiness works. It's showing you how you could trick yourself into thinking that you're happy, but you're not consistently really happy in certain things. Like one thing I learned recently is something called the GI Joe Fallacy. The GI Joe Fallacy, I'm not sure if anybody remembers, but GI Joe was, I guess, this army soldier who would teach kids, about things about life. Like, for example, he'll say, before crossing the street, you want to make sure that you look both ways. And, and he'll teach the kid that, right? And the kid will be like, thank you so much for teaching me that, GI Joe. And then he said, and now I know. And then GI Joe would say, and knowing is half the battle, and, the GI Joe fallacy is that, knowing isn't half the battle, that you have to, even when you know something, your mind still tricks you into what it doesn't know. I don't even know how to explain this. Your mind still tricks you into thinking that you know something that you really don't, and, it talks about like, like those, those vision tricks where it has like, two lines on the paper and you say which one's longer, and you see one that's obviously longer, and then you say, yeah, that one. And then you kind of, cover a certain side of those lines. And next, you see that those lines were the exact same size, same length, but your mind can't process those things. So it talks about how to change how your mind works so you can process things a lot better and apply it in your life, So it's not just about knowing. It's about applying certain things and practices into your life. So therefore, you can actually gain a better understanding of certain things. So that's called the GI Joe Fallacy, but overall, the course is great. I love it. I want to, it's a 10-week course, but after I finish with that one, I'm going to enroll in other classes. I don't know if they're doing any more classes with Yale, but I know that Harvard's doing a few classes, and I want to learn a few things in business management. I'm looking forward to that. And, that Science of Wellbeing is an amazing course. Another thing I also been focusing on, if you are interested, is that, stocks. I talked about, this will be a perfect time to capitalize on stocks. And if you're not familiar with like what stocks to buy, I'm gonna give you 3 stocks. I'm gonna give you 3 stocks that you should look into right now that, I wouldn't say are a bargain, but they're what's gonna grow in the next 10 years. One particular app is called Twilio, TWILIO. And Twilio is an app. It's a application that you put within apps that helps you communicate, with customers and clients, things like that. It's almost like it's like a bridge, So a lot of app developers use Twilio within it, so therefore they could create better ways of communicating with customers, And that right there, I think that one is TWLO on the stock exchange. So that's a fire one. Another fire one is Arista Networks. Arista Networks is another not app. So when it comes to all the things that are needed, like routers and all the equipment, they handle those, like the equipment, the switches, the cords. That's what Arista Network does, And they have clients like Facebook. They also have clients. They have Facebook as a client. They have Amazon as a client, and they work, as providing those switches and the hardware that's needed for them to get their network together. So far we got Twilio, then we got Arista Networks. So those are 2 fire ones. This other one, it's not the cheapest one, but you can be able to go on to, stock exchanges that you could buy partial stocks. I know that Robinhood will be offering that where you could buy. That's where I buy all my stocks right now, Robinhood, and there will be offering shortly where you could buy partial, like a fraction of a stock. So if a stock is really expensive, let's say $3,000 for a stock, you don't have to put $3,000 into it. You could put $30 into it and own part of a stock. And when they do that, that's going to really open up the opportunities where you could really buy anything. But this, again, if you have some extra bread around and you want to invest it, the last one I would say is Amazon. Right now I think that stock is like $2,300. It's not cheap. It wasn't even cheap when it came out. It was like 400 something, I think, when it came out. But now it's at 2,300. And as you probably already could see during this quarantine, that Amazon is pretty essential. So that is something that I think, those are the 3 stocks that I think that are to be looked at right now if you're looking into investing. And I know Amazon is expensive, so if you're trying to buy even one stock, that's going to cost you like $2,400. You know, that's a lot. But if you can get onto a network where you could buy a piece of a stock, that'd be great, you know, for that, you know. Yeah, I want to actually I also want to hear from y'all, you know. What are y'all doing with this time? You know, are y'all goal setting? You know, what's keeping y'all busy? I'm interested, you know. Also, you know, if y'all have any questions, you know, when it comes to like what I'm doing or the specific things that I'm doing around the house for my business, you know, with my family, with comedy, I would love your questions, you know. But yeah, as you know, we're going on to the next part, you know, with a great conversation, nice juicy conversation with me and my wife. We kind of ran over a little bit on that one, but it's definitely a very good conversation. So, but you know, with no further ado, welcome to the conversation. See you later. Yeah.
You press play?
Yeah, I press play.
Oh, I asked you. Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I feel good.
You do?
I need to get a little hydrated.
Drink a little bit of water.
You got your water?
I do.
Cool. So, tell me, how do you feel?
I feel all right.
You don't feel great?
No, I feel good. No, I just it feels different because we're filming during the day while the boys are asleep, so it's kind of weird.
Well, you feel like that, like we're breaking some type of rule?
Yeah, because we normally film at night, and my excuse of not having great conversation is because I'm always so tired.
But now you feel.
But now I have no excuse. I better be like spot on.
I know, right? Yeah. So when you said that you're feeling all right, is that because things are kind of the same?
Yeah, nothing's changed. Everything's pretty much the same. Well, my work week has changed.
In what way?
At first, we were working Monday through Friday. I work at home now. And then they changed it from Tuesday to Thursday. And now it's Monday to Wednesday. So this week is our first week doing Monday to Wednesday. So it's not bad. Today's my last day until
that's good. That's great.
Monday, yeah.
So when do you think you're going to go back?
They don't know. We had a conference call yesterday, and it was just like, we don't know. They think in the next few weeks, but no one is like sure.
So it's almost like you have no idea really.
I have no clue.
What is your guess?
I mean, look, if it was up to me, I would say Monday, but my guess
back in the store?
I would love to be back in the store, but I know that's not possible. That's just me being silly. But I mean, my guess, I would think the end of May. I would think another month. But I know that some states are opening up. We were talking about it earlier.
Yeah, I know Georgia, so Atlanta. I know they're saying barbershops and nail salons and all those. What do you think about, like, what does it even mean when they say opening up? Does it mean like just go back to normal, or do they mean like with gloves, or do they mean with masks?
That's weird, right? I would hope they mean with mask and gloves, but like nail salons, they already wear masks. They don't wear gloves, so that would be something. Well, they wear gloves when they do pedicures, so maybe for them it won't be like weird, you know, because they already wear masks.
I think some people, you know, are weary that it might be a setup, you know.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that's true.
Because
I can see that.
You know, it's not like they're saying, I don't know, who knows? Because, you know, the fact that this virus has been affecting people who are lower income, you know, and you know, the things that affect higher income people, like going back to office, you know, towers, or middle income to higher income, office buildings, and they're not saying those open up. They're saying that the things that affect more lower income people, like go back to those things. Maybe they want to do like a little test to see like, will a wave come back, or you know what I mean, and what community can we put back into the system and see, kind of like, almost like test dummies, you know?
Yeah, because you would think they would start with office buildings because everybody's in a cubicle. So you're already kind of separated, but why are you starting with where you're physically touching a person?
Yeah.
Maybe that's like the test. They're doing some type of experiment to see, will this virus survive when you're actually touching someone?
Yeah. And it might not even be like a black people type thing. It might just be minorities. In general,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So Asian, Black, Hispanic, y'all go out there. Y'all test out.
And let us know.
Let us know, you know, how y'all feel in about a week, you know. But
I'm staying home. Look, I've been doing my own nails.
do you feel
my own hair?
Okay, that's another question about like how do you revolt against this, you know, because if they say, hey, y'all go back out there,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's almost like how do you know if these are like, you don't trust the government, right? Like,
Right.
not everybody, but some people don't trust them.
Right,
You know,
right.
I would say a lot of people don't trust them, but they'll say, y'all go back out there, and then not everyone's going to go back out there.
Yeah, I would say just be smart. Like, I'm not, you know, once the city opens back up, I'm not going to rush and go out there. I'm going to wait like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I want to see how it is.
Yeah.
It's almost like you know when the new iPhone drops.
You want to wait?
Yeah, we're like, hey, you get it. You test out the bugs. I'll get the new one. You know, when they drop a new model. I remember when someone got the Apple Watch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they said, oh yeah, when they just dropped the Apple Watch, it's like, oh no, y'all go get that. I'm gonna get the next version. You know, I want to see all the bugs and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's what everyone's kind of like worry about, you know, when it comes to this whole thing. But
you just got to be smart. I feel like that's the best thing to do is just kind of wait it out. I mean, you're rushing to get your nails and hair done for what? Where you going? Where you going? You know, so just wait it out.
Man, then this whole time, you know, there's a show that came up on that everyone was talking about, Black AF. Do we say the whole thing or just say Black AF?
We're just gonna say Black AF, or I think it's hashtag Black AF.
Yeah. Hashtag Black AF. You know, and that show, you know, I saw a lot of people talking about it. I'm like, let me see what it is. And to my surprise, it's on Netflix, right? How many episodes have you seen so far?
Maybe like 4 or 5.
Yeah,
maybe.
And I kind of put you.
Yeah, you kind of gave me snippets of the rest.
What is your opinion of Black AF?
People gonna hate me. Well, number one, I don't like what's trendy. That's number one. So
hold on, what's trendy about it? The name or what is
that
it?
everybody's watching it. Remember, I asked you. I said, "How did you find out about the show?" You said, "Oh, everybody's talking about it on Instagram." I was like, "See," and then I was just like, "Okay, well, let me just watch it because you know something to do." First episode, I was just like, I didn't really like it because it was too much cursing. I didn't like that part, and then it was just, I felt like the main guy, Kenya. I think his name is Kenya. He complained a lot about being rich. And I don't know. It was kind of confusing to me a little bit. So at first I didn't know. I just wanted to watch the first episode and then I was just done. And I was like, no, because you were like, just give it a chance. I watched a couple of more episodes and I was just like, okay, whatever. But watching it, I couldn't really connect. I mean, there was a lot of Gucci. I saw everybody was dripped in Gucci. So I was like, oh, wow, you know. But I mean, it was just like a rich Black family that just complained about everything.
It's hard for me to understand what that show really is
Based on the title.
Yeah, based on the title. Yeah, because going into it, when it said Black AF, I'm thinking this show's gonna be like on some almost like an Insecure, like everyone's gonna be Black, no one's gonna care, it's just gonna be straight for the culture.
And you can kind of relate to it.
You know. And then when I saw it, it was more of just a rich, accomplished, you know, Black man who is living in a white world, and he's the person who's Black as F. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, they give you little lessons, you know, as far as which I like, the little history lessons.
Yeah.
And the music in there is all Black. You know, the characters, you know, the majority of them are all Black. The experiences is a Black experience, but from a different perspective.
Right.
You know, but the part that, you know, threw me off is that, you know, he has a high pitched complaint about pretty much everything. You know, so if that is really, because the show is about him, you know.
Yeah, it is 100%.
Yeah, and if you look at his actual real family, you know, it's the same. It's reflective of his real family. You know, so they're making it seem almost similar to like a documentary or how do they call those?
Yeah, documentary.
Yeah, like you just seeing the real life of you know who he is.
Because we Googled the family, his real actual family, and I was like, I want to see what his wife and kids really do look like, and they are exactly what you see. In the show. Like the wife kind of looks very similar. The kids all look pretty similar. So.
Same age range.
Yeah, exactly.
And all that. And, you know, he has a few dilemmas throughout the entire, you know, show as far as like how black should he be, you know what I mean? And how to relate to his own community. And there's some things that, you know, I related to, but then some things were just like, just didn't hit for me because, you know, when it comes to TV, when it comes to shows like that, like there's a show called Curb Your Enthusiasm with Larry David, one of my favorite shows, you know, and, you know, it's supposed to be really him. And it's hard to tell if it's him or if he's acting. It's like hard to tell, you know, but in this, in Black AF, it's almost as if like you could see everyone acting, you know, it's very contrived, very rigid in the acting. And then, you know, like when you complain about everything, and that's really how he is, like the high pitched complaints. Yeah, if that's really how he is, then he must not be a pleasant person to be around. I don't know if that's something that, if that's really him, or if that's just a show. Right. Like
he's playing a character.
Yeah, but it just didn't connect for me. You know,
well, the one thing I didn't like that he did a lot, he complained about not liking white people, but he worked with white people. He dapped up white people. Like it was weird that he would complain about not liking them, but you're still working with them. You're still like having them around you in your house. So it was just like, it didn't make sense.
Yeah. His assistant was white.
Yeah.
You know, and then he complained about, I just hate white people. So it's almost like, are you being authentic?
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because if that's really what you're saying, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, even like, are you even being genuine in what you're saying? Like, if you're saying that you really hate white people, then why is it that your assistant's white and that you have employees that are white and all these different type of things? And I don't think that, is he just saying that to be funny? Because if he was saying to be funny, then obviously it's not really good. It's more like him being facetious.
Maybe. But some of the, even the examples that he brought up to explain why he doesn't like white people didn't make sense. Like, I think it was maybe episode 1 or 2, they were in the restaurant and he ran into some guy on the way out, and it was a white guy. He dapped him up, and then the guy was like, "Oh, by the way, I like your chain." And he was like, "See, I hate white people." I was like, I don't get it. Like, he just complimented your chain, and then you, because of that, that's the reason why you don't like white people.
Yeah, it just seemed like, you think that was extra.
I thought it was so extra. It didn't connect to me. Yeah, I didn't get it. So,
and then about his wife having insecurities as far as her being half black, half white, and that people mistake her as white. So therefore, when she does things, she always has to
be like, extra.
Yeah, let people know, like, hey, I'm black. Like, even when, what's her name? I forgot what it is.
The wife? I don't remember.
And like when she'll go out and get, let's say, coffee, you know, they'll say Rachel, Black Rachel. It'll say on there like Black Rachel, whatever it might be, you know, and it's because she wants people to know, you know, so it kind of taps into the insecurities of being accomplished and black, but then also how do you do that in a world that's predominantly white? Yeah, you know what I mean?
Do you think she got those insecurities from her husband?
In what way?
Because he says it so much, how he doesn't like white people, and she happens to be half white. Now she has to like prove that she's black.
Now I almost think that, you know, like people who are mixed, you know, it's like the same thing as like me, they would consider me like a third culture kid, you know, a person who, you know, is from a different culture, and they're not enough of whatever their culture is. So I might not, since I'm Nigerian in America, I'm not American enough to be American, but I'm not Nigerian enough to be Nigerian. So you're kind of stuck in the middle. Right, exactly. So for someone who's mixed black and white, I feel like it's probably the same thing where you're not enough for white people, you're not enough for black people. So
do you feel like that's the same with you? Like, do you feel like you have to prove yourself to be one or the other?
No, I feel it though, but I don't think that I care. You know what I mean? If someone considers me to fit in you know, a certain way, but you know, I do know that it does exist because, you know, like I definitely see that I've never fit in with like black people here in America. Right. You know, that's been since the beginning. I never understood until I got older, you know? And, you know, and then when anybody comes from Nigeria, whether they're born in Nigeria or they, you know, or they live in Nigeria and they come over here, there's nothing I could say that makes them realize that I'm Nigerian, I'm different, you know? So it's almost like I'm in this like weird gray area where I'm not American, you know, and I'm not Nigerian, even though I'm Nigerian American, you know.
You're like African American.
yeah, but you know, so like literally, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know, as far as like, I can't speak to the being mixed experience, you know, but I can speak to what my experience is, and being in that little gray area is a weird place to be in because you never feel like you have a place.
Right.
But I feel like that is the place, you know what I mean? Like if you're in the middle, that is the place, you know, like you get the best of both worlds, you know, you get to see, like, it's funny. Like I know people who are mixed, and like you could see both sides of them, you know what I mean? Like you could see like
their white side and their black side.
Yeah. Like something might happen. They're quick to tell. It's like, that's the white side.
That's your white side.
You know, and if they do something like, you know, like with a little flavors, you know, switch their neck a little bit, do something. Like, that's the black side. Yeah. And you sometimes see it like right there in the middle, you know? So with being Nigerian, you know, at least Nigerian American, being on both sides, you know, like I'm like my translator. I'm like the translator for my parents, you know?
Yeah.
Like I help them understand like American culture.
Right.
You know, and they kind of help me understand what happens in Nigeria, but they don't do it very kindly, you know what I mean? And so, but I get to see both sides. But the hard part is, you know, because look, I learned this with like comedy. Well, I struggle with this with comedy, and just like culturally, is like who is my audience? You know, it's my audience, because I feel like, okay, I feel like I'm educated, you know, I would consider myself an intellectual. So, you know, there's not very many people who look like me who are trying to like have those intellectual conversations all the time, you know? So I'm not trying to bore people, you know what I mean? But, you know, and then I don't want to do these jokes of like, you know, loudmouth type jokes, you know? So it's almost like I want to do something that's more true to me.
Right.
But there's not a grand audience for me per se, you know what I mean? And then, you know, when it comes to certain people, like for example, Godfrey, the comedian, like he, you know, he's Nigerian, and he's not, I would say that the reason why he hasn't hit that international stardom or whatever is because like he's not fully accepted. I'm not sure if he realizes that or not, but like a lot of his tours, he doesn't all overseas. Most of it, he'll do it in Germany, and he'll go to Iran. He'll go all these different places. His audience is all mixed, you know? So it's never, and then he talks a lot about the black experience, about what America does for black people and the racism and all that. But honestly, you know, like I wouldn't consider that to be his number one supporter. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like black people.
Right.
But, you know, but yeah, black as AF.
So we kind of went off topic a little bit, but not really.
Yeah. Where do you score at 1 to 10?
I mean, I didn't really give it a chance. I know you kind of like brushed me up on the last few episodes. Right now, I'm giving like a 6. I mean, there were some chuckles in there. Yeah. I laughed, you know. There was some few parts that was funny, but I'll say like a 6.
Yeah, I would say, here's where my honest feeling is like maybe a 7.5. And what I feel like there's things that you need to understand about the show that people probably don't see is that it's true to probably his experience. Yes. You know what I mean? So, you know, whatever we're seeing, we're not really supposed to relate it to us. We're supposed to kind of see, you know, in on his life. Right, you know what I mean? Right. Because there's not very many people, especially there's not any show really where the black people are at that level. You know what I mean? I don't know of any show. You know, Blackish they're living really well, but there wasn't at like his level where he's like mansion and private jet. Right. And, you know, renting a private island. They weren't on that type of level, you know? So I feel like he's letting people in on that life. You know what I mean? So, you know, I do feel like that life is very different. So I don't feel like it's a thing that we're supposed to particularly relate to other than just being black. But and then also another thing is that, you know, maybe there's so maybe he's trying to make his debut because he's been doing so many, because he's a creator of Blackish,
Mixed-ish. All those shows.
Yeah, and
which I love. Blackish. I mean, I haven't been watching it in a while, but when it first came out,
it's funny.
We were watching it like crazy. Yeah, it's a good show.
Yeah, but they said that Blackish is for white audiences.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't fully agree. I feel like a lot of those, if you consider a white audience, I feel like it's an audience that is like middle class or middle income, and above,
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't particularly relate to Tyler Perry and his shows,
Yeah.
So
you're gonna get a lot of heat for that. No, I'm just kidding.
You think for Tyler Perry?
Yeah.
I feel like Tyler Perry, is great in what he does. To me, he's a hero. And but as far as I can't relate to anything that he talks about.
Yeah, I can't either.
I wasn't raised in that way at all. You know what I mean? The stuff I was more exposed to, man, it's even hard to even say what I was exposed to.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan. I mean, I congratulate him on everything that he does. And, I have a lot of friends who watches all his stuff, but me, I can't relate to it.
But, so I say 7.5 and you say a 6 for his. It did towards the, I'm not going to do any spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it, but I do think you should watch it. It's gonna be confusing, just off top, just because his life is so different.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it's supposed to do, right?
Maybe.
Like, I feel like that is it. Even though the acting, there's, that scene in the kitchen, I just took
the first
forever.
Episode.
Yeah, the first episode.
The assistant.
Yeah.
That scene was way too long. I was like, oh my God, can we move on?
Yeah.
It was like 15 minutes in that kitchen.
Yeah, so it's almost like, that was a little bit long. The way they did a lot of the editing on the show was like, it was almost like a hip hop video. You know what I mean? That's how he did it. He'll do like different scenes and different cuts or whatever. But I could say it was highly produced. It was high quality. Mm-hmm. He had a lot of accomplished black people in there in the Hollywood scene. So he had Tyler Perry in there, Issa Rae.
Well, you don't want to spoil it for people. They may not know that.
Is that really spoiling it though? Because they don't know why. All of it. Oh yeah, yeah. So I would want y'all to watch the show. Black AF hashtag
it's not
Black.
bad.
Yeah, and tell me what y'all think. Because
is there a hashtag on Instagram? Do you think? For like, if you typed in Black AF, like hashtag Black AF,
I think you could.
Do stuff pop up?
I would think Black. You think that show will pop up, or are you saying that?
No, like, do people use that hashtag?
No, I think that's too.
I know. So, like, what would be considered Black AF then? If someone was to start that hashtag on Instagram, what do you think would be considered a great picture or
for
story?
Black AF?
For Black AF.
Black, to me, black as fuck has to be like, has to be someone who is black and then is doing something that is righteous towards the culture.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Kaepernick,
like wearing your natural hair or something.
Yeah, well, I'll say like wearing your natural hair. Like, to me, there's you're too black as F. You know what I mean? Like when he did the natural hair with the leather jacket, I was like, it's too much. You know what I mean? That's too much. But then whenever you do like you stand up for black people, or you're putting a stand up, like I feel like that. Or when like Issa Rae was like, I'm rooting for everybody black.
Yeah.
Like that is to me a moment of like being super black.
Right.
You know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't think that it should be characterized, because I think the easy way to characterize being black as F is almost like being ghetto and not caring and snapping your fingers and having attitudes.
Rolling your neck.
Yeah. I would hate that to be the way of being like, black as F. But
right.
But I really do think that, like anything that's like for the culture, that's righteous towards the culture, that I would hope would, push black people ahead versus like take us any step back. But
right.
As long as it's true and it's real, I think that's what it would be. But I don't know if the light skin, dark skin thing will come into it.
Oh, I don't know. I'm so tired of hearing about that.
For real? Because even him, like him, when Black as F, I wasn't imagining seeing him And his wife, I'm like, he looks mixed.
Well, see, that's the thing too. Remember, I asked you. I said, "How is it that he doesn't like white people, but his wife is half white?" Even that don't make sense.
Yeah,
and she kind of looks white. So, again,
yeah, she does. She does.
And
in what?
And his real wife.
In real life.
In real life.
Yeah, looks. I think that's why they chose her. Yeah. Because she looks pretty white.
Yeah,
you know?
No.
It's awkward.
It's very
Yeah,
because that was weird.
Yeah. I didn't realize. I don't know if he realizes that. Might be a blind spot of his. You know.
I noticed it straight off top.
But what were you expecting when it came to?
I was thinking like a black family, like.
No. When you said the hashtag, if you would put hashtag in Black AF, what were you? You said what picture would you imagine?
Honestly, I was thinking something like hood, ghetto, like stereotypes.
Yeah, but when I put it in, and I look,
is that what you got?
Yeah, you get a lot of that. You get a lot of his show though, but that's probably because it's recent.
Yeah.
But I
was just thinking, like, do people actually use that hashtag on Instagram?
Yeah, you get a lot of melanin though. There's a lot of melanin when you put it on there, but this is a good shot. That's a good picture. But yeah, the show is definitely something worth taking a look at. Yeah, but I do think so. I think that I don't want to keep belaboring the issue of Black as F, but like I think Black as F would be also something more African too. You know what I mean? Like when there's, like I don't know. I would think that dark melanin, something that is completely culturally appropriate, like someone's like doing a cultural dance or a ritual or something like that. I don't know.
Remember they had a family on there. Well, I don't want to spoil it for people, but there was an African family on there. You remember? And they were like, "Oh, they won't wave at us because Africans think they're better than us black people." Yeah,
but that taps into things that I experienced. I don't think it's that. I know the rumor is that black people, that Africans think that they're better than black people. But I feel like it's almost like the thing internationally. Like how black people are shown through the media. I mean, even black people are scared of black people. You know what I mean? True. So it's almost like, how would you? I don't know. I don't really know how to really phrase it. Yeah. Do you understand what I'm saying or no?
I mean, you didn't finish saying what you were saying.
No, what I'm saying is, when Africans come over here, they're told to just like mess with only Africans, and that a lot of them see that they see that African Americans are dangerous through the news. That's how they know how African Americans are, is through the news. Right. So when they get here, most Africans are like, don't mess with any black people like that because you get yourself in some trouble. You know what I mean? So it's not to say that it's more of a you think you're better. Right. You know what I mean? It's more of to say that what do you think you know? Yeah. Like you think that you're gonna put yourself in a negative position by associating in that way with black people. Right. And I don't know if that. Do you have thoughts on that or?
I mean, I can kind of agree from how we're, shown through TV and magazines, and I mean, we're not shown in the best light.
But do you think that's manipulation, or you think it's like there's some of that's true?
I feel like there's some of it is true. If I see a culture on TV, like extremely dangerous and, extremely dangerous, I'm sure I will be told, don't mess with these group of people. So, I mean, that's pretty much how we're shown through the media, is that we're dangerous or, we're thugs or, pretty much all the bad stuff.
Yeah, I see it, like when you see different type of, like there's different type of ways you could do, let's say robberies, right? And, the ones I see on the news, let's say that are more like, towards black people, it'll be an aggressive way. Like I saw one where they go into a store, large group, and they just grab everything, rip it off the what do you call those? Like shelves. Yeah, walls. Rip it off the shelves, and they all just run out, like 10, 12 of them.
And you see that all the time.
Yeah. And, you know, you don't really see that with Asian groups. You don't
No.
really see that with, you know, like white groups or anything
And
like
I
that.
work in retail. I've been in retail for like over, I don't know, 10 years, maybe more.
Yeah, but the aggressive grab, run, rip, and do all
All
that.
the time.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
black people.
And it's almost like, so when they show it on TV and they're saying, look, like they're trying to make us look bad. It's, you know, I feel like it should be that wouldn't exist.
Right.
If
Exactly.
it was, you know, like that should be a completely fabricated video if it was something to just make people look bad.
Right.
But it's when something like that happens at that level, I feel like we all have to be accountable and say, okay, like we're not going to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, people, and just working in retail, you know, I see all races still. Every single race, even all ages, from babies to like grandparents, they all steal. But when it's like organized crime, for some reason, it's always black people.
It sucks though.
Yeah, it does.
But I wonder why. What is it the income difference or?
I feel like it is. I mean, I don't think they're stealing it to keep it for themselves. I feel like that's their job. That's the way they make, you know, they make money.
and it's part of the culture. Like if you want things nice, if you want nice things, I said want things nice. If you want nice things, then and you see everyone around you who seems to, you know, be winning, you're gonna say, okay, what could I do to get a quick come up?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And if everyone around you is doing it, you're like, let me go ahead and do it.
Right,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
So it's hard to kind of stop that when it has its own like inertia. It moves on its own, you know? But, you know, even what right now that's moving on its own, are you familiar with a blessing loom or blessing circle?
Yeah, you told me a little bit about it, but I'm still confused.
Okay, so those who aren't familiar, okay, there's this new trend that's going around that's called like a blessing circle, a blessing loom. And what it is, it's like, okay, it's definitely a scheme, but, you know, it's for anybody to judge whether it's good or bad. But you start the circle and then you invite people into that circle. And then those people invite people into that circle. So when that circle fills up with enough people, the people who started that circle cash out with the amount that it took to get in. So if I do it with $100 and I start it, boom, $100 in, and then I get 4 people to join. Those 4 people put 100, and then everyone keeps putting. After you keep getting enough people, and then eventually when the outer ring of that circle, you know, is everything's full, you get that outer ring. So then you cash out on the final ring, and then, you know, you could use that. Let's say it's $800. So you put in 100 to start the circle, got everyone else to get other people. Now, you know, that the circle's filled, you cash out with $800 or $1,000 or whatever the price is to get in.
Right.
And then you start, either you could go in on another circle and do the same thing. But eventually, with a Ponzi scheme, part of it is that eventually, if you stop it, the people at the end won't receive anything. They lose their 100. But if you keep it going, which is the goal, you gotta keep finding people to continue paying out.
But who keeps it going? The person who originally started it?
No, it has like a cycle. So if you started it, you could fill up your circle within, let's say, 3 days. And by the time 3 days is up, you cashed out. The remaining people in the circle upgrade to a new level of that circle. And then when they cash out, they could either go again back in to another new circle and do the whole system again, or they could just keep their money. But the whole point is, you bring in other people, they bring in other people. Now everyone got their money into it. The people at the top cash out.
So the point of this is for everybody to make money.
Yeah,
but not everybody makes money when it gets towards the end. Yeah,
because that's how the pyramid scheme works, is that the people at the end, they would have to, there will always have to be a recruitment.
Right.
Because once you stop recruiting, the whole thing stops. So if I'm at the end and I'm recruiting to bring people in, you know, then it's going to be where, you know, like, all right, if I don't bring anybody in, I'm going to lose this 100. Yeah. So I'm motivated to bring people into this circle. I don't care if they, you know, if they got the money for it or not. I'm going to do whatever it takes to say, hey, if you do this, you could cash out and have this, you know, it has a good motive behind it, you know, and then eventually you could keep cashing out. Cause I saw someone, you know, actually I follow her, and she was, I guess, upset because she's doing this a lot, you know, and she's like, hey, I'm tired today. I cashed out, you know, $3,200. right? And she says, because I feel so happy that I cashed out on $3,200, I want to, sponsor a family who did not receive the stimulus check. Anybody know any families? I think it's all gas, all fake. He said, hey,
I'm keeping that 32.
Yeah, and she's like, thank y'all. I found the families. I just, helped them out and this and that, which again, I think it's to show that she has goodwill. And then she's saying that, people were upset with her because they're saying, oh, you're pushing a scam, you're pushing a scheme.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, promoters, next time y'all come to me and y'all say, hey, can you promote my party? Oh, okay. I'm going to say nah, because I ain't going. That's what I'm going to do to y'all. So just because people have different type of hustles, don't think that you could keep knocking people's hustles and all that, but I don't see it as a hustle. But then it just kind of sucks because, Dakota, he mentioned that one of his, a pastor that he knows was doing the whole circle.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he's like a pastor. I think his mom's pastor or something like that was pushing this type of thing out, like, hey, y'all join this. And then when it gets to that type of level, he's like, man, this is a person with, like power,
right?
Above people. And then he's saying, y'all come into this so y'all could either make money or whatever. Yeah. And it's all a scheme, That
sucks. I remember one time, this was a long time ago, but not that long ago. I don't know if you remember, but we got invited to like a pyramid scheme event, but it was told to us by a friend that it was supposed to be like a motivational speaking event. That's how she got us to go to this place. Man, once we got there, we were upset.
Was it wish?
You should be here.
You should be here.
The blue sign.
Yeah, they had this blue sign to say you should be here, and I forgot what the whole scheme was. I
think it's kind of basically the same thing. I don't know what type of scheme it is, but you join and you get people to join.
Do you sell stuff or what was it?
I think it's like you get vacation packages.
Yeah. You
get it for like really cheap. And like if, let's say I'm a member and I get like a certain amount of people to sign up, I get like a free BMW, which
that's what I remember about it. That
the
BMW,
which I actually know someone who is in that organization and she did get a BMW. So, I mean, it is all true, but it just seemed sketchy to me.
All that to me, anything that you sell, and not sell, anything that you make money from that doesn't create any level of value back, I feel like is the scam.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when you see like, hey, you see it online, like I could show you how to make $800,000 a month, no effort, automatic on autopilot. It's like, that's not true. It's not true. You know what I mean?
If that's the case, everybody would be doing it.
Yeah. But he says, I found the way, and there's that is a scam. Anything that, it's like not, it doesn't provide, you're not providing value back. Right. You know what I mean? Like the one guy was talking about how, he does a way to help people grow their Instagram, and he said he had 500 people sign up, and he's helping them. And then, it was actually, he was talking to Gary Vee, and Gary Vee was like, okay, but are you providing value to everybody? And he's like, that's the part that sucks, is that I can't really show people how to really do it like that. I just have to give them this cut and paste way of doing it. Yeah. And I can't really get to everybody, and he said that's where it gets, like shady really fast, because you're not really helping nobody. You're just helping yourself. You're getting a lot of people to sign up for something that you just give them the good about. You don't give them the bad side. You just give them the good. And then when they do it and they lose out, you could care less. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I think I've been to one of those too.
To what?
It was like a flip home type situation.
Oh,
where you go, it's like it's free, and they give you all this free advice, but then you go for 3 days, and then you find out at the end of the third day you have to pay like a certain amount of money to like get these booklets, and then you got to pay more money.
That's all those things. That's why I don't like going to any of those things, because they all seem, anything online like that, or anything that says come to this seminar, I know their goal is to make money. Right. So when they say it's free,
it's not free.
It's not free. And then
it's free maybe that first day for that first hour, but they feed you this information to make you want more. So you want more. If you want more, you have to pay. So then you have to pay for those other 2 days, so it's not free.
Man, you should even see the schemes they do even within those seminars. Okay, you go in those ballrooms and they have a bunch of people, right? they'll have people in that crowd.
Oh Lord.
That they already
Planted.
said. Yeah. So whenever he says, "Hey, who wants to join for the $1,500?" Someone says, "I gotta do it," and they get up and they say, "Sign me up. I'm doing it." So then
that's what I kept seeing too.
Yeah, and you're thinking like, maybe I should do it.
I know.
You know.
I was like, let me go home. It's like I ain't falling for this. I'm going home.
I know. Let me get some of your water.
Yeah.
I don't want to fill her up, but yeah. So yeah, that money loom, because a listener asked about the whole what are our thoughts on the money loom, or is it blessing loom, blessing circle? And my final thoughts is that it's a scam, because like, how do you get money for not doing nothing?
Right, exactly.
Like, it's not, there's no such thing as a money tree. So what game are we really playing? And they said there's something else called a susu. You heard of that before, right? Where
I don't think so.
there's a group, let's say it's 10 people in the group, and each person in that group puts in $100 every month, right?
Okay.
And then every month there'll be a winner of one of those 10 who gets the entire pot. So if 10 people put 100, every month, it's easy to make $100 payments rather than $1,000, right?
Right.
So you put in 100 every month, and then one of those months, let's say yours is July, you'll get $1,000.
Right.
And you have to wait till next July to get your next 1,000, but you continue putting 100 in, but
they're basically giving you your money back.
Yeah, you're getting your money back.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the difference is that you are helping the group make large, like, it's almost like a saving ring. Like, if it's hard for you to save, you could pay into this and it'll kind of save for you, because at some moment you'll get your lump sum back.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know. But see, I think the Asian community does it a lot. Like, they'll have it where they put in money together to to like eventually like cash out at one moment, but you keep putting money in. Yeah, but
why don't you just get a savings account?
There's some people
put it under your mattress.
There's some people who say they can't save. They don't know how to save. I don't even know how that's even possible.
I get it though.
How do you get that?
Because some people they spend a lot, and then you have people who have a lot of debt, so it's hard for them to save. And some people just don't know how to manage their money well. If you're brought up in a home where your parents were in debt, or someone was like an impulsive spender, or it's pretty much where you taught how to spend and save money. I don't ever remember learning that in school.
I thought saving was just not getting rid of all that you have,
But a lot of people live paycheck by paycheck to paycheck. So if you live paycheck to paycheck, how can you even save?
You want to mention anything about the Teddy Riley versus Babyface?
Ooh, did y'all see that? Man.
Fire.
We was up in here jamming.
Yeah, it was great.
Saturday night was pretty sad because that's when they were supposed to come on, and we were ready. They were not.
Yeah, I was wrong.
That was so messed up. I was so disappointed.
It was like 500,000 people tuned in, and like,
it was Monday night, right?
That was Saturday night.
When it wasn't working, but then Monday night.
Yeah, Monday night.
I think it was Monday night. They finally got it together.
Yeah.
It was so good.
It was great. And Babyface definitely won.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. But see, Teddy Riley, you could just see the thing about it. Babyface, you can't really read him. You know what I mean? So he's just to himself. That's just his personality. I feel like Teddy Riley's personality is egotistical.
Just doing the most over the top.
Yeah, complicated, because I feel like he was just so disrespectful by constantly leaving.
I know. Every time a good song would come on, he getting up.
Yeah, or
you'll see somebody in the back like sneaking in, crawling on the floor, tapping him on the shoulder. I'm like, y'all was just being disrespectful at this point. He just kept getting up and leaving. But I was like, you know what? I'm enjoying it. Babyface played another song. When he played that Whip Appeal,
yeah,
I was done.
But see, it's funny when I don't really remember any of those songs, really.
I remembered all of them except one. I think it was like Superwoman. That's the only song that I didn't know. Everything else I was like singing along.
Yeah, I have like small, like I remember little small pieces of what they were playing. Stuff that was like just out before I mean, not out. It's things that were like popularized like through radio.
Yeah.
But most of the stuff like through CD and all that, like, you know, when people talk about like R. Kelly and like 12 Play is where I started listening to R. Kelly.
Yeah.
Anything before that, I don't know.
You don't know.
You
Yeah.
know? So as far as like a lot of their hits, there's some that are you know, anything with Michael Jackson, definitely new. You know, and man, that was great too.
I know.
People say, "Oh, who would win between Michael Jackson and Prince if they were both alive?" I'm like, Michael Jackson.
But the thing, see, I love them both. I love them both. I do. You know, I love me some Prince and I love Michael Jackson. But yeah, Michael Jackson for sure. Yeah, he would win.
Yeah, Michael Jackson would win for sure.
Probably heard every single song, watched every single video, everything.
Yeah, so you definitely are for Babyface and winning.
Oh
this.
yeah, well that's the type of music I listen to now. You know, I like the oldies but goodies. I like the R&B. That's what I listen to in my car to and from work. So I was familiar with all the songs. That's my era right there.
Did you want to answer any questions that from listeners?
Oh, well, we answered one.
Yeah.
What is it? Blessing Loom?
Yeah, the blessing loom. Someone asked what's our daily routine.
Oh yeah, during this whole quarantine thing?
Yeah, not with our kids, you know.
Not with our kids?
No, with our kids.
With our kids?
Like the whole family. What's like the daily routine?
I mean, I've just been more relaxed now. These past 2 weeks I haven't really been strict on them. They're kids. I'm just letting them play.
Yeah, and I've had I'm trying not to anymore, but I've been sleeping in almost like every day. Where like the time I probably get up is usually around like 10.
No, about 9:30. 9:30.
Well, when my mind is up, it's about 10. But
I come knocking on that door. Yeah, I come knocking on that door about 9:45.
Sometimes I'm up like
You're
8.
already up. Yeah.
Sometimes I'm up at 8, and you know, but I just choose to just lay down and then end up maybe falling back asleep. But I need to put more pressure back on myself to actually like not sleep away the most of the day. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, look, there's people I know that sleep until 11, 12 o'clock. I'm like, that gives me a headache. I'm up at like 7:30, because the kids always wake me up. So, but I'm a morning person. You're up at 3, 4 in the morning working. I'm knocked out by 11 o'clock. Last night I fell asleep at 9:30.
Wow.
So, you know, you could sleep in because you're up late, you know, and I can get up early because I go to sleep early. So,
I get that.
You know.
I gotta before we wrap anything up, I got a term I want you to know.
What's that?
Cassandra's dilemma. You heard of that term? Cassandra's dilemma?
It sounds familiar.
Cassandra's dilemma is when news is so terrifying that you don't want to hear it, even though that news is meant to help you.
Ooh, that sounds like COVID-19.
Yeah, and it does sound like right now. You know?
Especially when it was like, maybe the beginning of it. Well, maybe like mid-March, like right when we were like locked down, everything was kind of shut down. I got to the point where I was like, I don't even want to listen to this no more. Like, I'm tired. It's draining.
Yeah, it's Cassandra's dilemma happened a lot with climate change.
Really?
You know that there's things that are affecting the climate, and there's news that you need to understand what you could do to, you know, help the environment. But the news to some people is so terrifying that they cannot listen because the doom of the world not existing in the same way is so scary that they don't want to hear anything.
Right.
As far as any like think about it, you know, for argument's sake, let's say climate change was real and that you could have an effect on it if you change something about yourself.
Right.
But the information that they're telling you to change because of climate change, and if you don't do it, that, you know, let's say we won't have an Earth anymore in the next like however many years, it's so scary to you that you're like, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Cassandra's dilemma going on right now with this whole, you know, COVID-19, because no one wants to hear it anymore.
Right, exactly.
And the information that you need to hear that will help you, you don't want to hear anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so what do you do then? You know,
it's a dilemma.
It's a real dilemma. It's a real dilemma. Wow. Well, this is awesome.
Yeah, this is good.
Yeah. You want to share anything else to the people?
No, man. Y'all just stay safe, and remember, once the city back up, don't rush. Like, take your time. You know, stay home for an extra week or two. or take precautions. Wear your gloves, wear your mask. You know, be smart.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, be smart.
Well, love this conversation. Thank you so much for joining me. Joining us.
I know, right?
And we'll catch you later.
Bye.
And know that life is a bank. And anytime you do anything that brings you joy, you're earning.